The tangled web of love. Is everything we know a lie? Is love just an illusion? Do the promises, the memories, and the moments we cherish truly hold meaning, or are they simply fleeting lies we tell ourselves? These questions stir our deepest thoughts and echo the sentiments of countless love stories that ended in heartbreak. What if the romance we once believed in, the affection that seemed so real, was nothing but a grand deception? Are we all just participants in a masquerade of emotions, blinded by the allure of love, while time weaves its cruel web around us, pulling us deeper into a false reality? In this thought-provoking exploration, we delve into the raw emotions of love, trust, and betrayal, emotions that weave a complex web in the heart of every romantic relationship. Is loving someone madly just a beautiful lie we willingly embrace, knowing it may one day unravel? Do we allow ourselves to be deceived by the idea of forever, or is the illusion of eternal love a necessary comfort in the unpredictable and often painful journey of life? Let's explore this haunting idea that love, as we know it, may be as fragile as the promises whispered in the dark. Can love survive when it is built on a foundation of lies, or does it inevitably collapse under the weight of truth? A love built on lies, the illusion of forever. Living is a lie, maybe it's a lie, loving madly. These powerful words open up a storm of introspection. The idea that life itself and the intensity of mad love could be grounded in falsehood strikes at the very core of human emotion. Can we trust our own feelings? Or are we fooling ourselves with illusions, painting over the cracks in our relationships with the promise of undying affection? Is it possible that we are all living in a dream, where love is not the truth we cling to, but a fleeting fantasy that we hold on to because we fear the loneliness that comes with acknowledging the harsh realities of life? Imagine it. The eyes that once gazed at you with such warmth, the lips that spoke vows of eternal devotion, the heart that claimed to be yours. Were they all just lies? How many relationships are built on such fragile foundations, on promises that were never meant to last? The very thought can send shivers down one's spine. Could it be that we're merely clinging to a fantasy, afraid to see the truth that love is fleeting, and those sweet moments are just fading memories waiting to be forgotten? As we navigate the labyrinth of relationships, we often tell ourselves that love is the answer, that love will conquer all. But what if love itself is the greatest illusion of all? What if the very thing we hold dear is nothing more than a mirage, a trick of the heart that keeps us chasing after something that was never real in the first place? The promises of forever, the whispered words of devotion, are they just a part of the elaborate lie we tell ourselves to make sense of the chaos of human connection? The cruel web of time. Time is now weaving its cruel web, a chilling statement that reminds us of love's fragile nature. Just as a spider spins its delicate threads, time silently weaves its own web, slowly entangling us in a net of false hopes and broken promises. The roses, once vibrant and full of life, now wilt in the corner of a forgotten room. The songs that once filled the air with joy now feel like hollow echoes. Even the violets, those symbols of delicate beauty, wither away. Time spares nothing, and love, it seems, is no exception. As time passes, we begin to see love for what it truly is, a fleeting moment in the vast expanse of existence. The eyes that once shone with love now seem distant. The lips that once spoke promises of eternity now remain silent. Time, it seems, is the ultimate destroyer of love, eroding the foundations upon which it was built. And yet, we continue to believe in the power of love, even as it slips away from us, leaving behind only the faintest traces of what once was. What happens when we look back on the promises that once felt so real? The lingering looks, the sweet words whispered late at night, the endless thoughts of one another. Are these just part of a carefully constructed illusion? Is the love we believed in really just as temporary as the passing days, fading as quickly as it came? When time weaves its cruel web, are we left with nothing but bitter memories and the realization that love, like everything else in life, is subject to the relentless march of time? Believing in you, loving you, a dangerous game? Loving you is a lie as much as believing in you. These words strike a nerve for anyone who has ever loved and lost. Trust and love often go hand in hand, but what happens when that trust is shattered? Can you truly love someone if deep down, you know their words and actions don't align? When does love cross the line into self-deception? How many of us have been guilty of ignoring the red flags, of believing in the fantasy of love, even when the reality was staring us in the face? Loving someone madly can often blur the lines between truth and illusion, leaving us vulnerable to the lies we so desperately want to believe. As time marches on, love's once vibrant colors fade. It leaves behind traces, like a few drops of tears and some dried flowers. Those remnants, once symbols of a passionate love affair, now serve as painful reminders of what was lost. When love is built on lies, the bitter memories remain, haunting us long after the affair has ended. What are we left with when the illusion shatters and the truth emerges from the shadows? Can we ever truly recover from the heartbreak of discovering that the love we cherished was nothing more than a carefully constructed lie? Loving someone is an act of faith. It requires us to trust in the other person, to believe in their promises, and to open ourselves up to the possibility of heartache. But when that faith is betrayed, when the person we love reveals themselves to be unworthy of our trust, the pain can be unbearable. It forces us to question not only the relationship, but our own judgment. How could we have been so blind? How could we have allowed ourselves to be deceived? The bitter remnants of broken love. What do we have left of bitter memories? This question lingers, like a ghost in the corner of our minds. Once the passion is burned out, once the lies have been exposed, what remains? The songs, the flowers, the promises, all seem hollow in retrospect. The memories we thought were precious now feel bitter, tainted by the realization that they were built on deception. We are left with nothing but the shards of a broken dream, the remnants of a love that never truly existed. It's a painful realization, one that many of us try to avoid. But the truth is, sometimes love is nothing more than a fleeting dream, a beautiful lie we cling to because the alternative, facing the loneliness, the heartbreak, the loss, is too painful to bear. We hold onto the memories, even as they turn to dust in our hands, because letting go means admitting that it was all for nothing. It means acknowledging that the love we believed in was never real. What happens when the illusions of love fade? What do we have left when the roses wilt, the songs become distant, and the promises turn to dust? We are left with bitter memories, the remnants of a love that was built on lies. And yet, we continue to believe in the power of love, even as it slips away from us, leaving behind only the faintest traces of what once was. Perhaps it is this belief, this hope, that keeps us going, even in the face of heartbreak and betrayal. When the illusion breaks, the heart's despair. How many of us have been caught in the cruel web of love, only to realize too late that we were trapped in a lie? The feeling of being betrayed by someone we trusted is gut-wrenching, and yet it happens all too often. What once seemed like endless devotion is revealed to be nothing more than empty promises. The heart, so full of hope and desire, is left shattered. This haunting idea that love may be nothing more than an illusion forces us to ask, was it ever real? The eyes that once sparkled with affection, the lips that spoke of a future together, were they ever sincere, or were they simply playing a role in a story destined to end in heartbreak? When the illusion breaks, when the truth is revealed, we are left with nothing but despair. But even in the face of heartbreak, we continue to believe in love. We continue to search for that connection, that feeling of being truly seen and understood by another person. Perhaps it is this hope, this desire for love, that keeps us going, even when the reality of love is far from the fantasy we have built in our minds. We continue to search for that one person who will make all the lies worth it, who will make the pain and heartbreak worthwhile. The fragile nature of love, holding on to lies. Is it better to hold on to the lie, to pretend that the love was real, even if it wasn't? Or should we face the truth, no matter how painful it might be? It's a dilemma that countless people face when love turns sour. The idea that loving someone madly could be nothing more than a fantasy is a hard pill to swallow. But perhaps it's a necessary one. After all, how can we truly heal if we continue to live in the shadow of a lie? In the end, time weaves its cruel web, no matter how hard we try to resist. The flowers may wither, the songs may fade, but the truth remains. Love, as beautiful as it is also fragile, and sometimes it's built on lies. But even in the face of this painful reality, we continue to search for love, to believe in the possibility of true connection. Perhaps it is this hope, this belief in love, that keeps us going, even when the reality of love is far from the fantasy we have built in our minds. Conclusion: is love just a beautiful lie? As we come to the end of this exploration of love and deception, one thing becomes clear. Love is as complex as it is beautiful. It can lift us to the highest heights, but it can also break us down in ways we never expected. And sometimes, the love we thought was real turns out to be nothing more than a lie. The truth is, love is never easy. It's messy, unpredictable, and often full of contradictions. But even when it's built on lies, it doesn't make the emotions we feel any less real. The pain, the joy, the heartache, it's all part of the experience of loving someone. So, is love a lie? Perhaps. But even if it is, it's a lie we continue to believe in because the alternative, living without love, is a far darker fate. In the end, we may never know the truth behind every promise, every look, every whispered word. But maybe, just maybe, that's the beauty of it.